All right, so we've got enough people now. Holy cow, we got a lot of people here today. All right, we are here to talk about Razor's Edge and about database view and web view and all that good stuff. For housekeeping items, if you haven't attended one of our webinars before, and I recognize a lot of the names here, but I'm sure there's some new folks. Yes, we record this. Yes, we will send you a link after the webinar with a link to the recording, and you can download the slides. Some of the slides we have today, like I think some of the timelines that Austin's going to go through, are probably better consumed on a PDF on your screen than us kind of explaining them to you. So we're recording it. If you have questions, use the Q&A button. Try not to use the chat because we will lose it. Even as I say that, half of you will ignore me anyway and use the chat, and we'll try and find it. But if you can, hit the Q&A button, because then Stacy and Austin, as I'm talking, are answering questions, doing all sorts of stuff on the side. So it just makes it a little bit easier for us to manage it as we go. That is all the housekeeping. Let's start with the most important question. Why are you here? What are you doing here? Why are you taking time out of your day to sit here with us? You are here. This will tell you if you're in the right webinar or not. Probably because you use Razor's Edge. Okay, number one, use Blackbaud Razor's Edge, and you may be wearing a shirt that looks like this. Stacy, do you know who the shirt is from? I found it in the forum. I believe our friend made this, didn't she?
Our friend Carmen Johnson, I believe, makes those.
Shout out to Carlene if she's on the webinar today, another famous Blackbaud Razor's Edge user. So if you use Razor's Edge, and maybe you're in the camp that you're like, you can pry database view out of my cold dead hands, which I love. Swag's still available, I believe, on the Print Your Cause site if you want. Maybe we can even drop a link and get some referral money from Carlene. This is a topic that's near and dear to your heart. You've probably been hearing about it for a long time, right? Database view is going away, or database view is never going away. All of the things that we've been hearing for years and years. This is the topic. Things are changing rapidly, enough so that PSG is like, okay, we got to really start talking about this, right? To our clients and to our friends that we do these free webinars for. So that's why you're here, right? You want to know what's going on, or maybe you've heard some things, you want to confirm some rumors. That's what today is all about. Why are we here? The people on the screen. So Stacy, myself, Andy, Austin, Rob behind the scenes there. We are here because this is the biggest group of database nerds that have ever been assembled. That is who this group is, right? We have some brilliant Razor's Edge enthusiasts. This is what we do. If you haven't worked with us before, the one slide I'll give you to explain who PSG is. We are a small boutique consulting firm based out of Omaha, Nebraska. We do fundraising consulting. We do annual appeal management for a whole bunch of large clients, raising hundreds of millions of dollars a year in total. And we do a whole bunch of Razor's Edge database administration, which is not something we ever thought we were going to do, but all of our clients needed it. And we just kept getting calls of people saying, hey, will you manage our database? So we said yes. So many times, in fact, that we are the largest user of Razor's Edge on planet Earth. That tells you who PSG is. We are friendly with Blackbaud. We have no affiliation other than we represent a whole bunch of their users and their databases. So we end up kind of getting the inside scoop on a lot of things. We're able to helpfully influence some decisions on there, and as well when we can give feedback. We just live, eat, and breathe this stuff, right? Razor's Edge is who we are. And Stacy and Austin, you probably know, are the two most famous Razor's Edge users on Earth. There they are giving their amazing presentation at the last BBCon, standing room only. It was packed. It was a whole lot of fun. I'm sure we'll do it again at the next BBCon. What we've been up to lately, that some of you might know us from, is all about fundraising automation. And here what I'm talking about is some of the amazing automation stuff that you can do, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We are working for all these clients you see on the screen and many more. The phone rings every day with another organization that says, hey, I heard you can automate emails for us. I heard you can set it so that instead of me creating this wonky report and taking a lot of hours, I can just click a button and a report goes out. Yes, you can do all that automation stuff. We do it out of Razor's Edge. We can help you. But again, more on that later. But just to give you a sense of who we are and why this is important to us, why we're having this session, is because this is all we do. We help raise a ton of money. We like to innovate, and we spend every hour of every day inside of Razor's Edge. The automation stuff you might know by another name, Automate Genius. That's actually, we did so much consulting on automation, we actually spun it off, and it's a whole new thing now that Stacy runs for us and does a wonderful job. Okay, Andy, I'm going to have you help us first. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Explain. So if we have folks on the call, and I know we do, who are newer to this, right? They just took a job at a nonprofit, and then the boss parked them in front of a computer with Razor's Edge on it. and said, go learn this. Just start us at the highest level. Like when we say razor's edge, what are we talking about? What does that look like?
Sure. So I'm considered an old timer, so I'm going to talk to the old timers first. Many of the old timers are familiar with the setup on the far left, right? Razor's Edge 7. And really, that is kind of the OG, the original database view. In many instances, organizations had Razor's Edge. It looked a lot like just the database view. And any data that you had was on servers on your property, on your location, right? You had to rely on IT to take the, every month or every couple months, Blackbaud would release a new, version or whatever. The IT department would have to update those versions. So you had some outage for a while. And then, voila, you had your Razor's Edge. In late 2015, early 2016, and I happened to be one of the first people to adapt Razor's Edge NXT. Some people called it Next. Some people still call it Next. But really took that. And what it did was it took the data away from having it kind of hosted on site to up into the cloud. It allowed both the database view that many were accustomed to, but also provided a new web view, which from a frontline fundraiser standpoint, which I was much more slick, easier to manage relationships and those kinds of things. And so now for essentially 7 or 8 years, it's been primarily NXT. Even if you are still using database view, it's likely the cloud version of it and not so much, the servers in the basement where IT is still doing those, manual updates.
And that is something I want to point out. So as we get client calls all the time, we'll say, well, what version of Razor's Edge are you on? Many of them will say, oh, we're still on the old, like we only use that database version. Like they're on NXT, but they don't realize, like they think that they're unique in that they mostly use database view. And we're like, no, that puts you right in line with almost everybody. Like people are entering gifts in database view all the time. So we get calls from people saying, like a CFO will be like, my database administrator, all they use is this wonky version. I know there's a better version we should be using. And then we're kind of in the position to explain, well, actually, Blackbaud's kind of straddling the two universes.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about today, right, is this, right? The idea that Blackbaud is going to move to what they call a total web solution. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay. Is it fair to say, Andy, that when you moved over to Razor's Edge NXT, there was a bit of a
8
feeling
years ago, by the way, 8 years ago.
8 years ago that there was a feeling that this might come sooner than 8 years down the road. Is that accurate?
Absolutely the case. Yeah. So they were saying, hey, you're among the first, but everybody's going to be moving into this web solution, and all the functionality that existed in database view is all going to be available in this new web view format, and you'll be able to process GIFs and do all your reports and everything in web view.
And then
And here
there,
we are.
it felt like there's some energy around it at first, and then we kind of
Yeah.
entered the doldrum, right? And then it was like we stopped hearing about it. But I mean, the number of clients that we have that have been kind of talking to Razor's Edge and upgrading they were moved over to NXT with many of them this idea that database view is going away, and here we are 8 years later, and many of them are saying, you told me it was going to go away. Is it ever really going to go away? What's the plan? So that's what we're talking about. Razor's Edge moving to WebView. Why, Stacy, does this make people so nervous? This idea of going from database view here and then WebView over here to all on the web. Why are people freaking out about that?
Well, if that happened today, a lot of us would not be able to do our work because some of the things that we do every single day don't yet exist in the web view. So that would be a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And nobody, so that's terrifying, right? The idea that like you finally, you know how to do something, you're getting the reports done, you're pulling the gifts like you want, like you can do your job, your boss is happy, and you're going to get pushed into something that you can't do your job anymore. That's scary. I think that's accurate. I also think some of it is this, right? So if old timers like Andy will recognize the Peanuts comic strip, Austin will have to explain this to you. He's a youngin.
Google it.
Back in the day, they used to deliver pieces of paper to your house, and sometimes there was cartoons inside those pieces of paper. It was delightful. Uh, a running gag that we've all seen, right? Lucy pulling the football from Charlie Brown and always saying, "Oh, it's going to be different this time." No, really, I mean it. And every time she pulls it away anyway. So that's where we are, right? This idea that we're going to go to the single unified thing. We've been hearing about it for a very long time. So some of it is just skepticism, right? And some cynicism of, is this really going to happen? I'll believe it when I see it. I think the other part, Stacy, this is what you were talking about. Like, we want to make sure that it's fully baked, right? In the spirit of Thanksgiving season that we're in here as a small little prelude to Christmas, You don't want to move over to something that's not fully baked. Database view, for all of its clunkiness and looking like it was built in 1985, right? It works and you can get stuff done in it, and it's faster in many cases than WebView. So you don't want to move over if it's fully baked. In case you're wondering, yes, we do have a photo of a PSG t-shirt wearing turkey. I found that in my photos. I was looking for a photo of turkey to put up here, and I'm like, oh, that's right, we did dress one up back in the day. Okay. So what do we need to know? Now let's get into it. We talked about what we're talking about, why this is the topic, why we had more people register for this webinar than anything we've ever done. So Austin, I'm going to put you on the spot. Tell us about Blackboard says this is going to happen, right? What are they saying as far as timeline for the web view being like the total solution?
Yeah, so they're talking about in early 2026, we will be in a total web solution. And it's not going to be the web view that we know today. It's going to be the web view of the future, right? The one that has all of those features in database view that you use all the time. So that's going to be query, that's going to be pledges, that's going to be export, that's going to be reports, all those main areas that you go to get your work done, batch, all of that will be in WebView. And they are highly motivated. Like there are way more early adapter programs, EAPs happening simultaneously to each other than I'm ever been familiar with in all of my time working with Razor's Edge. So they are definitely moving forward and building lots and lots of stuff out simultaneously.
And I think that's probably the main point here, right? Like PSG can vouch for this. Again, our affiliation with Blackboard is we're the biggest user, but like, and we're close to them. We don't sell for them. We're not, we don't have a relationship like that. But we can vouch for this specific thing, which is they actually have people working on all these things. Like we've seen it. We're in a lot of the programs. So for the folks out there that have been hearing about this total web solution for years and years, we can tell you this is different, right? There's actual timelines. There's publications out there that if you went to bbcon, they publish what their timelines look like. So Austin, we have a couple of screenshots here. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so the next 3 slides are directly from the product update briefings last week. And what this really shows is all that they're working on currently, where we are now in Q4 2024, right? And where they hope to be come the end of next year. And we can see here that they're working on lots and lots of different pieces to take what's in database view and complete it in view.
So green is ready to go. Purple's the stuff they're working on. Blue is like, we haven't put a team on it yet, but that's what's coming up next.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do, and we won't go through all these. I think a good thing would be after this webinar, either later today or first thing tomorrow morning, we'll send out the recording and the slides. Download the slides and you can dig into this if you're curious about a specific aspect and when it's going to hit. But what I want to do, Stacy, Austin, with your permission, is let's run through some of the things that are available now in WebView that people probably don't know. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's a lot of good, honestly. And we're a tough audience, I'll admit that. But let's run through some of the stuff and then we can take a ton of questions as people go. Yes, Andy.
Real quick, yeah, just I've noticed that there are a chunk of people on here from Canada. And so our reports are going to largely be based on what we know is being released in the US edition. Even in the, some of the flow charts there, you could see that it will also be available in Canada and Australia and those kinds of things. It's just probably a little bit later in the timeline. So just wanted to give a heads up to those, viewing from up north that some of this will be relevant. Some of this you're going to have to wait for, but eventually it will show up.
Everything we say has a healthy Canadian asterisk on it that says it depends. Okay, Stacy, donation form. Talk about where we are, where they're going, what we have to look forward to.
Yeah, so some of you are still using Online Express or Net Community donation forms, really customizable. We've all gotten used to using them. We've all gotten used to how to process gifts from them. And we know how all of that goes. So I don't blame you, but I am here to tell you that it is time to try out the new stuff because it's getting better and they're adding things all the time and it's going to be way better than what you're using now if you're still using all that old stuff.
And the new stuff is called, this is just NXT donation forms, is that what they call it? Just flat out?
I think so. It's called online giving, right? So it has a kind of separate thing now.
Okay.
So one of the things that we're most excited about that's going to allow most of our clients to probably get rid of their online express forms in pretty short order is that pledges are going to be released in online giving by the end of the year. This was from the product update briefing last week, so I don't think they've set an exact date for this, but they did say this, releasing before the end of year with an exclamation point. So we're super excited about that. I expect that it will be similar in setup to the way you do it now in Online Express, although it does look like there are some things that have been simplified and will make it easier for donors to make a pledge gift online. So super excited about that.
And this will be helpful because for all of our consulting clients that we run their appeals, many of our clients, if I'm correct, we have on the NXT, the online donation forms, a new version, but then we have to have an OLX one up there because they need pledges, right? Like, so we're even straddling that. Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
So in the future, they release online pledges. We can move everything to NXT. What are some other good things about the donation? What have they fixed and gotten better with?
So one of the things that I love in online giving is that when someone sets up a recurring gift, those payments automatically get pulled from their credit card on whatever schedule they've set up on whatever day they've set up. So in the old days, we had to run batches twice a month or however many, however often. And we'd have to go in and find all the people that were due to make a payment. And then we'd have to send a transmission file to the bank to say, give us all this money. And then we'd have to put those gifts on the records, right? And it was very, very time consuming to do that. The payments just automatically appear now. Now, they don't show up in Razor's Edge until they get put into a batch, which is a little bit like the holding areas in Online Express, right, from online gifts. But they get put into a batch and you go in and click approve every day. You'll have some because you have recurring gifts that get processed every day now, right? The donor can choose the 16th if they want, or the 3rd if that's their payday, right? So way, way more flexible for the donor and way less work for you. Love it.
Well, and one of the things I think that's exciting about this, we have several clients who had their gift processor working on holidays or working on a Saturday, if the 15th of the month was on a Saturday, because they had to process those gifts on the 15th of the month. And now they don't have to because the gifts are being processed in the background and they can simply click the approve button on Monday morning when they get back in the office and the gifts will, be posted to the record. So huge upgrade there.
Love it. My mind goes the other direction. I'm thinking of the hundreds of people on this webinar. Andy, how many of them do you think just had a moment where they're like, wait, we've got to do something with those recurring gifts? We've got to process them?
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm going to say somewhere about a dozen of you right now are panicking and thinking that's why their revenue isn't meeting up with what I thought. Okay. All right. So automated recurring gifts, love it. That's a good development. What's this data review tool thing?
So one thing that was holding us back from moving to online giving forms was that it was creating a duplicate record most of the time. If the donor typed street instead of ST, it would think it was a different record and create a new record for that donor. So they've added this data review tool that works very similarly to how the linking works in Online Express, allows you to you can have it match some of them for you, and the ones that are easy it will match, and the ones that it's not sure about it will let you review. And so if Susie Q goes on and makes a gift, but she's the spouse on her husband Dan Q's record, right? Like you know them, right? You can go find them and link it so that you don't have these duplicate records created. So yeah, it's a big improvement. So this is definitely worth looking at if the duplicates created by the system were the thing holding you back from trying out online giving, you can get around that now. So it works.
And I think Blackbaud would recognize that, right? Like if you were to poll other people, like, why are you not moving to a new one? They're like, I spend all my time deduping and trying to match up things. If you make that easier in the web view, then I'll go, right? But no one's going to jump until it's easier or at least on par, with what they're doing right now.
Yep.
Okay. Optimized donation forms. What are we talking about?
Optimized forms are another version of forms that now exist in online giving, and these have been designed specifically for conversion. So they're really, really good for things like a live event or a giving day where what you are going for is conversion. Especially at a live event, these don't require you to enter contact info. So it asks for the bare minimum. It asks for probably your name, email address, zip code, and your bank account information, right? And most of the time, as data nerds, we really like to have every field filled out in every record, and that makes us all a little twitchy. But especially at an event where it's a sit down, you already know who's in the room, you already have their contact information. All we need to do is for them to say, yes, I will give $500 to scholarships, right? So we don't need to collect that kind of thing. So this is a great option if that's something that you think would work for your organization. Plus,
Yep.
you.
It looks great, and I mean, they're catching up, right? So Blackboard donation forms for a long time have looked similar to database view, right? The competition was leaving them behind in terms of the ease of use and just the beauty of what it looked like and the functionality. So they're coming out with some good alternatives, which I think is great. As a database administrator, just make sure you know the difference of what Stacy said, right? When a major gift officer or director comes to you and says we need a donation form, your job is to arm them with the one that's going to work best, right? And if you don't need all the forms, if it's an event like this, just use the optimized one. You'll be happy to. Okay, let's talk about transaction covering fees and all of that stuff. What does this universe look like? Take it away.
So a lot of people are using a plugin called Smart Donor Cover from SmartThing, and that works with Online Express. We have not heard as of now if that will be updated to integrate with the new online giving form. So that if you are using that now, that's something that you'll want to talk to SmartThing about and see what your options are there. Blackbaud does have the two options that you probably know about: Complete Cover and Donor Cover.
Do you do me a favor, Stacy, and just explain the complete cover and donor cover, like how that works?
Sure. So complete cover, basically Blackbaud charges you no fees, and they ask the donor to make a contribution to cover the fees kind of on behalf of the organization. Donor cover, right.
But the contribution goes to Blackbaud and it tends to default to a kind of high percentage, like a percentage that's much higher than what you would pay covering fees, like think 10%. So sometimes donors can get a little bit confused during that process, and organizations are never told the true amount that a donor pays if they choose to participate in complete cover.
Yep. And donor cover. So complete cover asks the donor, do you want to contribute? And it's a large amount, and that amount goes to Blackbaud. And in return, you, the nonprofit, don't pay fees, right? Blackbaud makes it up by asking people to give to Blackbaud. What is donor cover then?
So donor cover is a little bit more like what you would think of, that the donor can increase their gift by a small amount to cover their fee, and then you're responsible for the same fees that you always were, but your donors are covering some of them.
So you're using the increase from that donation from the donor to help offset the fees that you would have been charged initially.
Got it. What do our clients, so I get this question all the time, as people are asking about, or many of our clients are using other third parties, right? Because they want that ability to like easily have somebody check a box, say I'll cover fees. What are our clients doing on this, on complete cover, donor cover?
They're kind of all over. I will say some use complete cover and like complete cover. I think to what Stacy and Austin's point is, there is some confusion because you are going to send an acknowledgement letter to a donor and saying thank you for your $100 gift, when in reality they might have actually given $110 because that $10 for covering the fee actually went to Blackbaud, right? So if sometimes donors will call and be upset and say, well, my letter only says 100, but my credit card says 110, like, what's the deal? What's going on? And we'll also say, why are you paying 10% to process these fees when in reality we are not paying that, right? So complete cover works from a standpoint of it's going to save your money or save your organization a lot of money. It does typically tend to create some confusion amongst donors, and there is maybe some poor feedback from donors who then think you're paying substantially higher processing fees than what you actually are.
Because I think it's 10% up to 3,000. So think about that. That's a donor that makes a gift of $3,000 that just made an additional $300, what in their mind is a gift, which is really just a $300 payment to a for-profit company, right? You have no idea what it is. Angry person calls you and says, where's the other $300 I gave? So I understand it's probably a good solution. Maybe I don't know if it's oversimplifying it. Maybe complete cover is a good solution for smaller, maybe faith-based, organizations where you're not having giant gifts. If you have sophisticated donors, they are going to freak out. They're going to call you and say, why are you paying 10% processing fees? Let me introduce you to my guy. He's going to get you a better rate.
It is nice too, Nick. If you're an organization that has multiple entities within the organization, complete cover is nice because $100 gift, like that entity within the organization is going to get $100, not $97. You're not having to calculate the chargebacks and what percentage of the fee does this department have to pay, and this department have to pay, and this department have to pay. So from that standpoint, it is a convenience certainly for the organization.
Yep, got it. Okay, and thank you again for folks. We've had a lot of people that hit us up with questions in the Q&A. We will get to those in a little bit here. Keep it going in the chat. Like, that's the most useful of these webinars, is when people are interacting. And if we see something we can answer right away, we'll jump in. If not, we'll get to everything as we go here. Okay, so that's still the universe, Stacy, wrapping this one up. This is still the universe as it exists. As people move to NXT or just the new version of online donation forms, this is what's out there. We have complete cover or donor cover. I know they're working on optimized, like setting ask strings. We have strong opinions on that as well. Like, we don't like turning over the keys and just letting Blackbaud decide. We want to be able to set those ask amounts on our own. So certainly something I know that they're working on that front. If you guys use Ask Genius, we're working hard to get to the point where you can take your Ask Genius amounts and float those over into donation forms. It'll take a little bit, but we're committed to getting that done. Standard reports. Austin, Stacy, who wants to talk about this stuff?
I'll take this one.
Austin, you're up.
So this is the view we're probably most familiar with, the reports section of database view. And this is currently in the process of being moved to WebView. And we have the pleasure of serving on this early adapter program and providing direct feedback to developers. And honestly, it's been the best EAP I've ever been a part of. So yeah, it's going really well. So this is the sort of main view in WebView. The best part, I think, about this is you can set these to run. They run in the background and you can go off and do other work. So if you're pulling annual statements, right, you don't have to sit there for 45 minutes to 2 hours anymore. It just happens, and then it will notify you when it's done.
That is so cool. I can't believe that we were still living the old way.
Watching that bar fill up.
Yeah,
Slowly,
right.
slowly.
Holding your breath. Okay,
Yeah.
So that's super cool. So you need to download something, it goes, it works on it, and then it alerts you when it's done. There's some formatting stuff we like, right?
Yes, so they've definitely taken a look at everyone's feedback, and they're able to wrap text now. So if your funds were super long before they got cut off, now you can see the whole thing. So that's super cool.
The little things.
Yes, it's the little things that make us DBAs happy, right?
Love it. What about exporting CSV?
Oh man, I think this was our favorite feature in the whole thing. It's like Stacy's
fired up.
favorite thing. It actually spits out a CSV you can use, not the version where you have to go over 25 columns and there's no header and you got to figure out what this column says and does. It comes out beautified and you can immediately start to use the data.
I like the I picture inside a Blackbaud, and we joke because we're friends. I picture someone inside a Blackbaud at a big table, and they're like, "I have an idea." Somebody in the idea bank said we should have a CSV that's actually usable. I think, hear me out. Hear me out. It's so crazy, just my word. What if we made it so that what we deliver to them is useful to them out of the box? This is super cool, and it's so cool. This got the rare Stacy. We know this is the rare Stacy Cope seal of approval for Blackbaud for doing this. Big deal. So we applaud them for that, right? We told you there's good stuff here in WebView. We don't need to be scared about it. They're doing good things, so we want to applaud them when they do. What about anonymous settings? What am I looking at here?
So they are moving anonymous settings from a user-based setting to be a report-based setting. So you can decide on any given report how you want anonymous listings to happen, and you don't have to toggle back and forth between your user settings and running a report to get anonymous to show up as anonymous or the donor's name. So that's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. There's the quality of life issues, right? Little things that'll slowly drive you mad over years and years. They're fixing them. Okay.
They've taken our general advice and they've made it some sort of details from the hidden format tab out to be more open and in the beginning. So that's exciting too. And they've done this for every report.
Awesome.
They've added some new features, which is you can access any reports you've run in the last 14 days. And better yet, you can share them directly with another user directly in the database, and the other user will be notified, and they'll have direct access to your run.
Love it. Okay.
And if you're sick of running that one report every week that your boss wants, not only can you schedule it to happen on a recurring basis, you can preemptively share it with them too.
Awesome. That's so cool. Look at us. Look at us entering the 90s. This is fantastic.
And I think we
and-
know when this is going to be live yet. I think it could appear at any time because a lot of these reports are
Yeah, they're like fully functional and they keep adding new ones.
Wasn't this a big deal at BBCon? Didn't they say standard reports is like the first thing coming out?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to make it live either before the end of the year or right after the first of the year. So, I mean, we're finishing up the EAP right now, and we know that it works because we're poking holes in it to make sure it works. And the things that aren't working, we're telling them to fix, and they're fixing. So, I think it's pretty close, and the hope is that people will be able to utilize these relatively soon.
Good. I know this is a big deal, right? Reporting is so much of your job, and if it's not available in WebView, you're not going to move to WebView. So, love it. And as the team mentioned, we're deep in this, so we know that it works. So as soon as we know, that might even be worth us kicking a note out to all of our subscribers and stuff too, like when it's live, like reinforcing that. Okay, so that was reporting. What about query? What are we talking about here? Stacy, Austin, who wants it?
Stace, you should take this one.
Okay. So query is something that we use basically every 5 minutes, right? So this is a version of query, and they, I think, have done a great job of rebuilding this in WebView. And for the most part, you're going to notice that it looks really, really similar, right? You have your available fields on the one side, criteria on the other side, and a few options have moved, which is great. So hang on, I have too much stuff on my screen. So one thing that we like that they've moved out for visibility, similar to the anonymous thing, right? So these options used to be buried up in the query options menu, and you had to go in and they were on a couple of different tabs, right? And it was, you half the time forgot they were in there. Well, now they're their own tab in the query setup, which is great. So that makes this stuff easier to get to and less likely to be forgotten. So
Awesome.
great.
Summary. Austin, do you want to take this? Wasn't there a rumor or something? Didn't we put this on
Yeah,
here?
I think there was a slight misunderstanding in the comment section at the product update briefing about summary fields in WebView query, and I just want to dispel the rumors. Okay, summary fields exist in WebView query. Here's a screenshot to prove it. Please do not fret. It is a real thing. They work.
Also, can we talk about how Stacy didn't even know that the top 6 of these existed until I found it when I was doing screenshots for this webinar in the new version, and I thought, oh, look at all these cool summary fields they added to WebView query. And Austin said, no, Stacy, those have always been in query. You just didn't even notice it.
Hundreds and hundreds of people relying on Stacy, waiting with bated breath on everything that she announces, and she's like, "Oh wait, when does that get involved there?"
In there.
It just goes to prove 12 years in, we're still learning things.
So it will continue to.
That's right. That's right. Question I saw in chat. If somebody, and again, I don't, this is the danger. I'm going to answer one question, then we're just going to go down this rabbit hole. So very quickly, Stacy, if someone created a bunch of queries and stuff in database view, they're moving to WebView, do those queries magically appear over there? What does that look like?
They should all be there. So when query goes live for you, and I don't think it's live for everyone yet, although that will be coming soon also, you will be able to see all of your queries that exist in your database view right now. So if you're me, that's a bad thing because you have thousands and thousands of queries you've never deleted. So something to consider. Might go ahead and delete some queries if you don't want to have to look at them when it comes to the web view, but they will all be there. So
same thing for standard reports. All your standard reports will exist in WebView.
Standard reports will, but if you've created custom reports, those are some of the things that are going to need to be recreated in WebView.
Yeah.
But I think before we go today, so we got more time left. Don't worry. Don't freak out. We're still here. But before we go, we should talk about what we should do next, because there's clearly so much interest on this. Even as I see in the chat, people are saying, will you do a webinar on XYZ? Like, I'd love to get a sense from the group on like what specifically would be helpful. Like, is it a step-by-step? Is it a tutorial? Is it like the 10 things you should do in a row to get ready? Like, let's talk through that. Okay. Batches. What's anything new, different in batches?
So batches will have a huge overhaul, right? So it's a little bit clunky right now with the dual view, have to go through, can't tab through, all that sort of stuff. Blackbaud has a great staff member leading this, Anthony Gallo. He is the best. He definitely hears his audience and takes that.
Shout out to Anthony. Well done.
Mhm.
And these are all screenshots from his presentation last week. But it will be set up very similar to how it is, like grid, batch view, and database view. He's working on tabs. He's working on all sorts of things. Basically, he wants it to be a one-to-one really replacement to what's in database view. So please do not fret about this. A better batch is coming to WebView, one that we can actually use for all gift entry.
And in fact, I think it will probably be better than what is in database view.
Yeah.
There's some things that are currently hidden now in menus that are hard to get to, like tributes and gift attributes. And, there's some things that are kind of tricky, and he's working on getting those into a better place. So I think it's going to eventually be better than what you have now, which is great.
And a quick shout out to Anthony. There's an Ask Me Anything for gift management and WebView happening in Blackbaud community this week. So if you do have burning questions about what this will look like or what you think is missing and you want added, that's a great place to go and pose a question directly to Anthony.
So what I'm hearing, so for the Blackbaud folks on the call today, don't let Anthony go. Anthony is beloved and is doing a heck of a job. Give that guy a Christmas bonus. Keep him around.
I will tell you, I had the opportunity, I had said earlier, I was one of the first to make the transition from RE7 into WebView, and Anthony was around at that time. So he's been with Blackbaud for a decade or more, working specifically on NXT related things, and just continues to crank out, obviously, useful functionality and will continue to do so. But they definitely dialed it up to a 10 at this point as they kind of make the final push to convert everything over.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So we've walked through a bunch of features and we got hundreds of questions here that we can dive into. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention why we're also big on WebView, right? So let's talk about 2 minutes. Let's talk about automation, right? And how this runs off of WebView. So for the folks who haven't seen this yet, you've got to check it out. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Use your QR code on your phone, the scanner. Go to that site, easy.automate Genius. I just want to show you what's possible. So I understand database view is what we know, and we've been using it a long time. I also understand that Blackbaud's been promising total web view for a long time. Some things are going to be clunky. We're here to say web view is coming, and there's some great features in it. Personally, the reason we love it so much is because when you're in WebView, you can do a whole bunch of automation stuff that functions out of the APIs that exist inside of WebView. The example I'll show you, so again, you can go to easy.automategenius.com. I'm sure we can drop in the chat, but I just want to show you live because it's one thing for me to tell you this. If you go there, you can actually experience how this works. So you put in your name and your email, and you will immediately get an email fired off to you automatically. This is one of our best, most popular automations. What that looks like is this. Okay, so picture yourself, pretend that you're not a database person, pretend you're a major gift officer or a development director, right? VP of philanthropy at a college or university or hospital. Imagine getting this email in your inbox every morning, right? This is what's possible with Razor's Edge now when you start embracing WebView and the APIs and what you can do through automation. This email that you will get in your inbox right now, if you scanned it, has a bunch of information that's driven by things that happened inside of Razor's Edge the night before, right? So in this case, your major gift officer is getting an email and it's saying, hey, Leslie made a gift above $1,000. Mary Smith is a first-time donor. All useful stuff on its own, but the magic happens when you go and click on what we call a message prompt. And what happens is your major gift officer then has an email drafted to that dang donor based on what they did on their gift, right? And that is an email coming from their Outlook or Gmail, whatever you use. This is not an email drafted inside of Razor's Edge. It doesn't have an unsubscribe button on it. It's not an automated generic robot thing. This is an actual automation that constantly scans Razor's Edge, looks for first-time donors, new donors, people that increase their gift, and then drafts an email that as soon as you click on the message prompt, it opens it up. So if it's on your phone, if it's on your desktop, you can interact with this right now. So if you went to easy.automate Genius, you'll see why we are so darn excited about this, because suddenly your job as a major gift officer just got a whole lot cooler, and you can be about 100 times more effective because every morning you can walk into work and just have it built out for you. You don't need to start with a blank sheet of paper. you can start with a list of people that made gifts that are in your portfolio, and you can click on the button and it drafts an email for you. You can edit it and then click send. Andy, am I describing this accurately? Because we cannot set these up fast enough for clients right now.
You are describing it, and it is wildly popular. For those of you that went to BBCon, you got to see us kind of talk through and show some of these examples. We're doing a lot of work, and Stacy and Austin here on the call are the ones that are actually building this. So if this is something you're interested in, obviously scan the information, check it out. And Andrew Maker, I would be happy to talk to you. There are some incentives. If this is something you are looking to move forward with before the end of the year, you can save yourself some dollars by acting now as opposed to later.
So that's the entirety of our plug, right? So we do these webinars for free, and we'll always continue to offer webinars for free. If you haven't yet checked out Automate Genius, I want you to know what it is, because it's nuts and bonkers. This is just one example. So you can control all this stuff, what the emails are. If this would apply to your organization, feel free. You can schedule a call. I'm actually going to put up a poll here too if you just want us to reach out to you. And then after this, we're going to get right into the Q&A. So Stacy, Austin, start scanning and see which ones you want to tackle first while I launch the poll here. Okay, so if you want to learn more about that, and again, it's tied in tangentially to WebView, because all of our automations, you have to be inside of WebView for us to be able to pull the data, and the lists have to exist there for us to be able to do all this fun, amazing stuff. So we're happy to talk more about that. We have other webinars on it we can point you to, but I'll just leave that running. Stacy, I want to go to you first while this is going. Take it away. There's so many questions in there. What do you want to jump into?
I don't know. Let me find the one that I clicked that I would answer live. Julia asked if we know if they're planning on setting up a notification system for when online batches appear in gift management. This would be really, really useful, especially for somebody that maybe doesn't have online gifts every day. And I think honestly, I will recommend that you get on that Ask the Experts with Anthony tomorrow and ask him that, because it's a great idea and something that they might be able to build in. So yeah, I have not heard of anything, but it's a great question for Anthony.
And did I see that, Austin, you shared a link to that, right? Did I see that?
I did in the chat and the Q&A. We're getting lots of questions about like, when will each feature be phased out? What will happen when it goes live in WebView to the feature in database view? And they made it very clear in the call last week that when something goes live, right, when query or standard reports goes live in WebView, they're going to keep it in database view for a couple months, just to give you the opportunity to do exactly what we've been doing, right? You have database view open on one screen, WebView on the other, and you're doing the same processes in both, and you can easily tell how it's different, how your process is going to change, what new things you have that you wouldn't have before, and you just sort of figure it out. And I would definitely go ahead and try things out as they're released. Don't wait, right? You don't want to get to a point where, like with tables, they moved tables and then they eventually turned it off in database view, and then you're like, ooh, but my familiar view is gone and I don't know how to deal with this anymore. You want the opportunity where you can do both things in both views.
So, and I just want to emphasize that point. Like, if you take anything away from today, it's that yes, they are serious about moving over this time. It is all going to the total web. They're not going to shut down database view tomorrow, right? They're going to make sure everything's in there. But don't wait until the last second, not only because it's bad and you're going to get over a barrel on it, but also if you heard from Stacey and Austin, there's cool stuff. And like, we'll be honest about it. There's cool, better stuff. Like the way they're building many of these things is actually better than what database view is. Yes, it's different. Yes, we all hate change. We don't want people to move our cheese, but there is some benefits to moving over there. So we'll clearly, this is a topic people want to hear more about. So we'll keep doing webinars and we'll train people up. I saw in the comments people saying it's helpful when we did sort of the side-by-side comparison. We'll do a lot more of that stuff. So make sure you sign up for our newsletter so that you know when these are coming up, but we'll dive into all that. Okay. Do you want me just to do rapid fire here, or do you guys have any more that you definitely want to answer?
Rapid fire is fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Austin, online. So we're going to try and go quick here. Online pledges with the new format. End of year 2024 or end of year 2025? When is online pledges coming out with?
This year.
Okay.
So in the next couple months.
Awesome.
This year, I also want to add that automatic pledge payments is coming, right? So we have automatic recurring gift payments currently. Its sister program with pledges is coming as well. So that's also super exciting.
Awesome. Another one for you, Austin. This is from Karen. She says, although basic gift entry will be fine, she's most concerned about recurring gift management, especially when they fail. Any comment on that? Recurring gifts failing in the new version?
Yeah, so automated recurring gifts come through with a 0 amount gift and a comment of hard reject. That's how it's communicated to you. It actually works out well if you have an automation running that sends an automatic email to someone, say, when their recurring gift fails and you need new payment information, because that can tell the automation that this has occurred. Some people don't like them so much. So it's up to you what you do with those 0 amount gifts.
Yep, great. Question from Tammy. She asked, will Online Express allow donor profiles? So I think I'm interpreting it. So Online Express will go away, like as we move to the new. There is donor profiles that's out in the public, right? Like that's not an EAP, that's out in the wild.
I think so, the donor portal.
The donor portal where donors can like change if they have a recurring gift or something like that.
Yep.
It does exist out there. In reality and function, just manage your expectations. Like nobody logs into their donor portal. Like it does solve, if you have someone that cares deeply and wants to change a credit card and you want to be able to give them that ability, it solves that tiny little sliver. But if you're looking for it to solve like everybody just that becoming the default way they give is going and log in, they don't. They just click on your donation form and make a gift and then you match it up. Question from Dina, same thing. Do you know when Online Express is going away? So we don't have, Stacy, am I correct that we don't have any dates on when things are going away? We have dates on what Blackbaud has said is building the new version in the total web solution. We imagine they're going to, what Austin said, they're going to build it out, make sure it all works, functionality there, give you some months to acclimate, but then eventually they will shut it down in the old version. Is that right?
Yep, and I suspect that once Citrix and the old database view is gone, Online Express will be gone. So.
Yes. Yep. Blackbaud is, I mean, period, full stop. They are moving to a total web solution for a whole bunch of reasons, because it's a better experience, because they can build it cleaner and better than the old way. They probably save some money not being straddling a Citrix world and an online, web-based world. They are going there. Complete cover, question from Joel. Can you avoid getting a split gift out of the transaction? And same question for donor cover.
I believe so. I think that when it first came out, you could not. It was automatic. The gifts were split, and there was a separate fund for the fees. But I believe you can like assign the fees at the same time as you assign the funds for the donation form. I think. If anyone knows,
it is, but it's just for donor cover. Complete cover, you never know the other piece.
Oh,
so
right.
you just get straight donation with complete cover.
That will probably drive a lot of people nuts, just never knowing how much their donors.
It 100% drives.
Then the donor will call you and tell you what they actually gave and be upset about the fact that you didn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And you didn't know.
Yeah. And then you start doing the math. You're like, okay, so if all my donors are giving X amount, how much is Blackbaud making? How much are we? Yeah. Okay. Good question here. This is from Bernard. What I really use database exclusively for is global changes, additions, global delete, stuff like that. Andy, can you speak to this? Like, are they going to be able to handle that in the web view?
They are. And so, I mean, that's why I do a lot of database cleanups, and that's, kind of where I live in database view too. I don't do as much of the gift processing. It's far more data maintenance, data hygiene sorts of stuff, and it will be available. Actually, my wife is also a Razor's Edge nerd, and she was excited when she heard yesterday in one of the briefings that you're going to be able to add more than 500 constituent codes when you copy and paste things in. To create some of these things. It sounds like it's gonna be 2,000, which, in our household, like that's dinner conversation, right? Like 2,000 records instead of 500. But yeah, so it is gonna happen. Again, there are things that I think are greater priorities right now for them to kind of move over as opposed to the global changes, global deletes. But it will make its way there, yes.
Love it. Shout out to Kara Schrader, the real brains of the Razor's Edge world in the Schrader household. Question from Marie, what will happen to our custom reports?
I suspect your custom reports will just disappear from the face of the earth forever. So they're built in Crystal reports. They've already kind of been pushed to a little back corner of Razor's Edge. So yes, if they're still working for you, count yourself lucky and start working on a new way to report on whatever that is, because it's going to be gone.
They will be what my 14-year-old daughter would say is DED dead. They will be dead. Question from Karen, which makes me think of something that our colleague Lauren has talked about. back to the donor cover stuff. Karen says, isn't it a vicious cycle, right? With donor cover, the donation is 100, the extra donation is $2, the credit card charge fee is then on $12. Isn't
Yep.
it true? This is like looking into a mirror of a mirror of a mirror, or is that? Do we have an answer to that? But that's
Yeah, I
reality,
think
right?
It is. It's
the
gonna.
donor cover amount is based off of the higher credit card amount, so I think it's based off of Amex's fees. Like
Yeah.
there used to be a fee across the board worked for every credit card, and now they've changed it that Amex has a slightly higher fee, and I think that's what they use in the calculations for donor cover.
Yes.
Yep.
But you're gonna get charged the fee on the $12, not on the 10.
Yep.
But the
Yeah.
idea of charging you $12 makes more of the 10 realized.
Yep. This is the part where people start tuning out. They're like, oh man, my brain hurts. I don't like thinking about that. Question from Caitlin. Oh, I had it. There it is. Okay. Can you speak to the process of converting plugins like Crystal Reports to something that will work in WebView? Like people are asking a lot of questions about like Microsoft Power BI, about Power Automate. Stacy, do you want to talk to this at all, or Austin?
Yeah, so Power BI is a really great option. There are lots of people in the Blackbaud world using it. So if you are not familiar with the Microsoft Power Platform forum on Blackbaud community, go jump over there and see what the options are. Power BI is super powerful. It can do anything that Crystal Reports is doing. So that's, I think, probably your best bet. But there's lots of options out there, Tableau and other kind of reporting tools that you could use.
Well, there's big, powerful stuff. Your first line of defense is always going to be to try and build it using a canned report, like something in WebView, right? Like if you've been doing a customized solution right now, don't just assume you have to do something custom. Always make sure you're exploring all the built-in stuff first before you get into the more powerful things, right? The more robust. Adrian asks, are they getting rid of duplicate data? Are they getting rid of duplicate data return in query?
I think so. I think there was something mentioned about that on the pub, but I would go back and listen to the pub recording of RENXT. So much information jam-packed into that, but
Okay.
yeah.
What about search function inquiry? How's that working? How's that looking?
I don't know about that. That's a good question.
And I know that there have been a lot of people that have asked the search functionality in NXT is not as strong as it is in database view. I think there's no one that would fight us on that, and we wouldn't fight you on that either. So I mean, we have shared some of that information with Blackbaud just in terms of kind of identifying records or doing lookups inside of database view is far more efficient than the way that it currently is available in NXT. And my hope is that they bring that functionality over into the web solution because it's going to save people a lot of time.
Yep.
There's kind of a lot of questions about how to or where to start and how to kind of move over to WebView. I just want to encourage everyone to like pick one thing that you do every day and see if you can do it in WebView, or as features come out, try your weekly reports in the new WebView reports, do it side by side with your old process, see what's better, see what's worse, and start figuring out your new workflow. But just eat the elephant one bite at a time, I guess. Try not to think that you're going to do everything in database today and everything in WebView tomorrow. You're just not. So, take small bites and figure it out as you go.
I think today's webinar certainly has proven to us at PSG that there's an audience for this topic. And so congratulations, you came to the first of what will probably be a series of webinars, kind of related to this. But again, we're excited to be able to provide this information, which, again, we sometimes get the insider scoop to you to do this, but we do the work that you do. This is what we do every day. So we want to just be able to continue to share that out. And I think through future webinars, we will continue to use case examples. We'll be able to provide feedback of what we're seeing. Certainly encourage you to share that information back with us too. But we're definitely in this together, and are fortunate to have a channel in which to kind of broadcast this out to all of you.
I want to answer two more questions. So everything Andy said, I validate. Two questions. Import feature. A bunch of people asked about this. Did we cover this? I want to make sure I'm getting to. Will there be an import feature? How does that work?
I believe it is on the roadmap, but I think it's blue. Like, I think it hasn't been started yet. So there's not much information out there, but I believe it will be. I don't think Blackbaud wants to live in a world where people can't import their own data into Razor's Edge. So I suspect that will get done hopefully sooner rather than later, so we all don't have to worry about it until this time next year when the clock is ticking.
And I think whether you import that organically or you're using a third-party service like an Omatic or something like that, right? Because for those of you that are utilizing those features, we want to bring those in as well.
Yep. A lot of questions about the link to the webinar. Yes, we will send the link to the webinar. If it's not by the end of today, it'll be by tomorrow morning. First place to look is your spam folder if it gets caught there, but it'll be a link to the webinar page. You can go watch the recording, share it with your supervisors, download the slides. Stacy, lots of random questions. Might be some newer folks who are asked about like Importomatic and Omatic and Importacular. Like, how does that all fit in this world of things going to the web?
That is a great question. I don't know that I've heard much about that. I mean, they're all cloud solutions that I expect will work well with our ANXV total web solution, but it remains to be seen exactly what it will look like or where it will live. So,
And I recommend you just reach out to those companies directly, right? Like they know this is coming. They probably have a plan in place to address it and some new developments to help them get there, right? So
Yep.
we've seen like 3 or 4 in the Q&A. Just reach out to them directly and they'll be able to point you in the right direction.
And I mean, from what we've seen doing the Automated Genius stuff, and I put it back on there because somebody was asking for the link, like Blackbaud is getting better at APIs, right? Their APIs are getting cleaner, more detailed, and not such a, blunt instrument. That makes our lives easier, certainly makes lives easier over at, Omatic and Importacular and Smart Things and our buddy Stu at RedArc and everything else. So life gets better all around. The better Blackbaud is at being a web solution, the better it is for you when they have the features, the quicker they can update it, the better for the third-party add-ins that can just go directly through APIs. Like there's a reason all this is happening, and we're happy that it's finally going. I'm gonna leave with this comment. I think our next one has to be sort of a step-by-step like kids version of like how do you move, like when we tell people like just to go in and like try it, we got a lot of questions that are saying like, okay, what should I start with? So Stacy, Rob, Austin, maybe we do that for our next one, is like, hey, let's just come up with a plan and kind of share it with folks.
Yeah.
And a final plug for Automate Genius, if you haven't, again, we'll keep doing these for free all day long. In addition, we have this amazing product. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Go to automategenius.com, schedule a time. It's completely free. We are the least sales pressury firm on the planet. We probably can't get you anytime soon anyway because we're full up, but you've got to see what you can start doing, right? With the automated emails and reporting, this is where the world's going. It's nuts. It's bonkers. You're going to love it. Okay. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate all the people on this call. I appreciate all the people who aren't on this call. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter so you can hear about the future webinars. We'll keep doing stuff like this as long as you guys find it useful, and enjoy the rest of your week, and Merry Christmas.
Happy Thanksgiving too, for those that celebrate first.
See ya.